Welcome to King of the Palace. I'm Dennis Nuzzo, and don't adjust your sets because the person standing next to me is well known throughout the bowling community. He doesn't need an introduction, but he's going to get one. Anybody who's ever been on any TV show knows this gentleman to my left. He's been a co-star of Candlepin Stars and Stripes for years, amongst other radio personalities, Mr. Mike Morin. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you very much for having me. I watch the show regularly on the internet, and you guys do a fantastic job, so thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. I'm actually proud to have you on the show. As a big fan of yours and the show for many, many years, and I'm still watching it. I know most of our viewers still watch it too. We're proud to have you here. I know you have a book coming out. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
I do? No.
well, I've been told there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that coming out.
Sorry to mess with you. Yeah, I decided that there's been so many great stories in Candlepin bowling, and nobody's told them. I mean, you go all the way back to the 50s with Channel 5 and then all the way up to what you guys are doing. There have been hundreds of fabulous personalities and nobody's told their story. So I decided to do a book called Lunch with Tommy and Stacia. And I wanted to call it that because basically New England stood still on Saturday at noon and watched Channel 5 and had lunch. Got their little tray tables out and had their tomato soup and their grilled cheese sandwiches. So it's basically about the golden age of television, but I do talk about some of today's young guns, one of which is the top seed in this series of tournaments.
And he's no stranger to King of the Palace. He's been here before. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Sure.
And just for the people who don't know who Tommy and Stacia are.
Yeah, Tommy Ulster, of course, I don't think many people would argue that he's the greatest bowler ever. Some people would. You've got Craig Holbrook and you got a bunch of other people.
Oh, yeah.
And then Stacia Zernicke is really probably the all-time best woman bowler. I mean, she started in the 50s with the wooden pins, and she passed away, unfortunately, reasonably young at 73. But it was her family that really got things going in the Worcester area out of Webster, and she was just the most polite but very ferocious competitor. So Tommy and Stacia, in my opinion, the two biggest stars in the game. That's why they get top billing in my book.
Absolutely.
Yeah, book will be out in September.
I don't think anybody would really argue that. And I know there's a Facebook picture going around of Stasia's trophy room, and it's just, have you seen it?
A few people thought it was yours, Dennis.
Yeah, not quite, but I'll get there someday.
Okay.
But yeah, it's if you can find it on Facebook, please go and see it because it's a sight to be seen. And Mike's actually going to stay with us, going to do some commentary throughout the show today, little old time's sake. No Dick Lust, though. No Dick today, unfortunately. We couldn't get him down here, but maybe next time. Maybe
next time because you and he share the same birthday.
That's right, we do, and my birthday happens to be in 2 days. So, presents are welcome, but not encouraged.
Okay.
But on that said, I'm going to bring up today's bowlers for our first match. To my left, the number 5 seed with a roll-up score of 623, Mr. Dean Sullivan, who's held every belt except for this one, which he's hoping to claim today. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
He's actually our current mixed tag team champions, so he'll be back to defend those titles sometime in the near future. And the number 4 seed, again, no stranger to King of the Palace, roll-off score of 629, Mr. Will Pops Haskell. Welcome back, Will.
Thanks a lot, Dennis.
What are your thoughts about going against this Mr. Sullivan over here, the gun?
I've been watching him, and I think local flavor is going to take it down.
And I know what you're going to say, but I'll let you say it anyway.
Yep, I'm going to throw the ball and let the pins fall.
I should just stop playing and recording. Mike, anything you want to say to the two bowlers right now?
I'll say because I don't think I've ever seen a show that Dean wasn't on. And I do enjoy watching him, but I'll be honest with you, Dean. I'm glad you never made the Channel 50 show because you say the same 6 things.
It's tough trying to get new things out of him. It really is.
Now, you're out of Manchester, right?
Yes.
All right, so where's your home bowling center?
I bowl out of Leda Lanes.
Leda Lanes, which is where we did the show.
Right.
Fast house, slow house, medium house, what do you think?
Leda's one of the toughest houses.
Yeah, why do you say that?
Pins don't fall as good as they do at other places. It's well maintained. It's just you got to hit them to get them.
Sure, and I'd like to ask Will a question. Dennis pointed out to me, because I hadn't seen you bowl before, that at some point, in many cases, your ball actually does a backspin. When did you ever start throwing that kind of ball? Is that how you learned?
That's exactly how I learned. Everybody says when I was growing up, I have a natural lefty curve, and I just throw the ball nice and smooth and let the pins fly. No, I'm not trying to steal your thunder. there.
By the way, he gets royalties every time you say that.
Well, I'm looking forward to a great match between two great bowlers, and I'll see one bowler in the 11th box.
Welcome everyone to the King of the Palace, brought to you by North End Mazda Subaru in Lunenburg, Mass. Sponsored by Watch Me Suck at Bowling. Up first on Alley 3, Mr. Dean Sullivan.
No stranger to the King of the Palace, the current mixed tag team champ.
Yep. And the past champion, Dave Godwin, could not be here this afternoon. So now, when the smoke clears, we will have a new champion.
Opens up with a nice spare.
Dave is such an explosive bowler and a great young example of today's young guns.
Absolutely. And that voice you're hearing, Dennis?
That I'm proud to announce that's the legendary announcer from Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Mr. Mike Morin. He graced us by coming by here today, talk about his book, do some commentary, and hang with everyone.
I'm only here because Dean's here and I'm a big fan of his.
Well, he's a little disappointed here in his spare fill with the 4. Let's see what happens on his...
Right through the hoop.
Right through the hoop.
So while we have time, Mike, tell us everybody about your book.
Yeah, I actually mentioned a little bit at the open of the show, but it's kind of a tribute to the people who've been on all the TV shows. It's called Lunch with Tommy and Stacia because everybody stopped and had lunch, right? Back in the days of Channel 5. Whatever you were doing, you stopped and you had lunch and watched on Gillis. And so that's why it's Lunch with Tommy and Stacia, the two greatest bowlers. And then it's called Candlepin Bowling During TV's Golden Age.
Nice.
So, which I think we would all agree sadly has passed, but thank God you guys are keeping it alive with your own version, and I'm happy to be here.
You're right on that one, our own version.
We're trying to pick up where you guys left off, like you said, with our own little twist on it.
Nope.
Dennis wouldn't let me wear a tie, so I'm just kind of...
Up on Alley 3, Mr. Will Haskell.
With that backspin ball.
Missed the
do
object
that?
I
there.
have no idea. I've tried to copy and I can't do it.
He's left the 1, 3, 6 for 10 box.
Yeah, this is definitely, we kind of started it all back up, you know. We're in our 6th season, and we created the show just to turn around and give everybody a shot at it, you know, because you had all the greats, you know, well before us, you know, and I've tried out with all the greats, and I came up short. You know, and then one day after I bought this place, I was going through the basement and found an old Channel 5 roll-off poster, and that got my wheels spinning.
Oh, what a shot.
And that's how King of the Palace was created. So,
Great name for the show, too.
yeah, I mean, everybody has their own version. You know, they do the King of the Hill and this and that, and I just wanted something different. You know, and at first there was like a lot of grumblings about how we did the show. Why do we do it not like the King of the Hill? But my philosophy's always been is I want people to earn it. You know, I don't want anything given to anybody. You know, the King, if Dave was here, he would have had the option to requalify. And if he bettered his score, then he would start off wherever he finished off. But if he didn't requalify, he has to run the lap.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah, typical King of the Hill, you're at the top waiting for the people. With ours, you start at the 5th seed and work your way up unless you bowl the qualifier and you can get a better score, and wherever you fall, you would start at that position. Unfortunately, like you said, he could not be here today, so we took 5 bowls instead of 4.
Sure. Now, for those that are at home watching, they can't really see us here at the broadcast booth, but I should point out that there is a big bucket of chocolate chip cookies right underneath where I'm
I don't know
sitting.
how those got there.
Are you trying to tell me I'm too thin? What's the story?
They're just a little treat for coming out.
Wow. This
See, look at that. We are on camera.
Huh?
Here we are.
Let me
See
show
that?
you the chocolate chip cookies. There they are.
Oh, what a shot by
right.
Dean.
I don't know,
Is he
Dennis,
gonna
did he
take
play
that?
it that way?
No, I don't think he did.
that?
He's smiling at us.
What?
He's
Is he going to take
smiling.
that?
Yeah, I know, right?
I guess he had the rules.
Dean, you gonna take that? Yeah,
It's the same on paper.
that's right.
What I like about it, he throws the ball and then the pins fall.
Yeah.
I've just noticed that about him.
Completely misses his object.
Alley 3, Will Haskell.
He gets a lot of action.
Oh, Will. Oh,
look at
Ball
that.
almost took out the
Almost.
5.
almost.
Will comes from Sanford, Maine. His qualifying score was a 629. His average is a 113. He bowls out of Bolorama in Sanford, Maine. He's been bowling for 50 years. His high single is a 201. His high trip is a 473.
He just nailed that 5-pin, people.
All over it.
All over it. We're dead on 2 in a row for him, Dennis. Dave?
So I got to ask Mike, your grudge match with Dick. What was the final outcome on that?
Well, this goes back to the fundraiser of the Rock and Bowl,
Which we have tomorrow, actually.
Yes. Well, by the time people see this, of
Right.
course, it's been rolled already. But Dick just always wanted to bust my buckets and take me on, and I think we probably had maybe 7 or 8 years, and I think we came out even. I do remember winning the last one, but 1 year he kind of cheated. And I called him on it. Tony Zernicke shows up, and he's got Stacia Zernicke's bowling balls.
I remember that.
Whoa.
I remember that.
And
Yep.
I think that's the one I beat him at. I'll have to go back and check. But it was fun. And
Wasn't it when you were using Chris Sargent's balls?
I don't think so, because I didn't have a 245. But
People going back, Stacia and Tony, excellent Candlepin bowlers of the times.
After 4, Dean Sullivan at 43 working on a spare. Will Haskell at 46.
Okay, veteran Candlepin bowler Dean Sullivan.
Up on alley 3, his qualifying score is a 623. He bowls out of Leda Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire. His average is a 115. He's been bowling for 45 plus years. His high single is a 184. His high trip is a 450.
People, he just hits the 4-pin and he lands up at one of the 6 Mongols. The one Dennis explained it to.
Dean gets a lot of action on his ball. Puts a lot of spin on it.
Oh, no, look at
well,
He's appealing to the gods. He's
That's
thanking
2
the
in a row.
gods, people.
Somebody's got to wipe his feet.
Two spares in a row.
He stepped in something outside.
2
that's
very
for sure.
questionable shots in a row. But in this game, you take the questionable shots
How?
for all the times that you
How
get
does that
screwed.
happen?
Exactly.
Mike, how does that happen? Completely misses the object.
I don't know. I thought I saw a hook come down out of the pit. I could be wrong.
Oh, and this is repention.
Yeah, there you
Half
go.
was still left.
That's reverse karma.
Yeah.
The one thing you don't want to do on a well,
The
I
half
suppose
was
in any time
nobody's
is get
friend.
everybody's friend. They're half. Nobody's friend.
I call it the new palace.
Well, it's Will's friend, but
Look at
Wow,
this.
this is ugly.
It's just getting
Oh
better.
my goodness! Look at this, Mike.
Well, it's not too bad, though. He's got that wood to help him. If he
What do you
plays
mean
it,
it's not too bad?
If he plays it right here between the 5 and the cap of the wood,
Yeah.
he'll take at least 3 of them, try to shoot something
actually
out the
remember
wall.
Deb DeRozier making that on our show.
Oh, you're okay, Dennis.
And
I
right after I said the words, "Oh, this is an impossible shot," she made a liar out of
Yep.
me and picked it up.
Yep, I remember. They just showed a YouTube clip
Yeah,
of that. Yep,
yeah,
I
they
remember
did.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, Will Harrell up on lane number 3.
Haskell.
Haskell.
Excuse me.
Pops. Call him Pops.
Call Pops.
Okay. Crazy up. I apologize, people. Oh, a little wide left.
Hey,
I got a question for you.
yes.
There's going to
Put
be
you on
plenty
the
of them.
spot.
There's
All
going to
right.
be plenty of
Go
them.
ahead.
You ready?
I am ready.
In all the years that you've covered Candlepin bowling, who by far is the best Candlepin bowler you've ever seen? Ever.
Wow, there's so many great bowlers. That's a really tough one.
Like, who was like
Man.
by far in the clutch?
Well-
If you had to have him on your team as
Well-
a captain to throw down, who would you be?
I mean, I guess I'd have to say Tommy Ulster. I mean, that's a pretty safe answer.
Yep.
And a lot of people like to argue that. But, you know, the kid was winning purse matches when he was 13.
Right.
I mean, he had early training on all the high-pressure stakes. And he just has ice water in his veins. And on top of that, he's a gentleman.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd have to say, I mean, if I thought about it more, I might change my mind, but probably not. And that's why the book's Lunch with Tommy and Stacia. You got to put the 2 biggest names
Gotcha.
on the cover.
Did you know why Channel 5 had the new age rule installed in it? Because of Tommy Olster.
That's
he was
very
on there
true.
at 16, beating everyone.
It was more the state, I think the NBA
Yeah, probably.
made the changes because I think the age requirement was 18. No, for Channel 5, maybe not. I'd have to check.
I think because of the money, probably would be 18.
And high school athletic
Right.
qualifications and stuff.
After 6, Dean Sullivan at 71, Will Haskell at
look at
73.
this.
Boy, that was a great Brooklyn hit, and to leave that is
Look at this mess.
payback, I suppose, for the
Yes,
two.
exactly.
Leaves the
spares that he
6,
stole.
the 6, 7, 9 people. Dennis, where are you going with the wood, David?
I played on the right side of the
Right side, yeah.
6 pin.
Yeah, slap and tickle, right?
Exactly. They're slap and tickle action.
Oh, almost.
Is this a bowling show or is it?
Well, we incorporate a
Wait till
little
we
bit.
get to the stripper pole.
Mike, I'm telling you, this isn't what you grew up on. This isn't what you did. This is more for the bowler, by the bowler, and
There you
I like
go.
to have a lot of fun. So,
Well, we're having a lot of fun, and I've
Yeah,
got
good.
cookies. So
Mike, back in the days with Station, Did you ever remember any other professional lady bowler bowling in a skirt?
Bowling with who?
A skirt?
Was
she the first one to do it?
I think Craig Holbrook did once, but they had.
Wow.
I can't remember. Back then I thought they.
I want to see a video edit on that one, Travis.
Yeah, put Craig in an address, will you?
He probably used that on his
Well,
Facebook
we gotta-
profile page.
Let me call him right now. Hold on.
Little delay in the action here where we remove a piece of wood that's out in front of the line. There is a line 22
Mr.
inches in
Scally.
front of the head.
Running the pin.
No, I can't ever remember.
No, I can't either.
Yeah.
That goes way back. I moved here in '84, so I didn't actually ever see too much of the bowling before then. But skirts were in style.
Okay, nice shot.
Is that spare?
I wasn't paying attention.
There was so much time lapse. Spare.
Yeah. it's good. Actually, who's official scoring for us?
That is Casey McCool. I
Oh,
believe.
thank you, David.
It's right there on his
Yeah.
shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Oh, yeah,
really
look at
didn't
that.
know.
Casey McCool.
I didn't know that was his name.
I love his.
Thank you to
His
Casey.
fedora.
Okay, Will pops up, found the head pin, buries it, leaves the 5-9.
We had a huge turnout for the King of the Palace this time around.
Phenomenal, David.
30 bowlers.
Yeah, a lot of new faces.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of explosive, a lot of great bowling.
It was very entertaining to watch even before the show started, just to see some old friends. And boy, you're right. Scoring seemed really, really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Concentration. Pops a little bit off on that.
And I just want to give a shout out and say thank you to all 736 of our YouTube subscribers. Again, let us know where you're watching it from. Give us a shout out. We'll give you a shout out on the show.
You always do.
Yep, want to give a shout out to our sponsors, North End Mazda Subaru in Lunenburg, Mass. Go online, visit buynorthend.com, or go there in person and see Marty Babineau's excellent sales staff on new or pre-owned Mazda or Subaru. Also, go to YouTube, type in Watch Me Suck at bowling, and watch my friend George do parodies on Candlepin bowling, duck pin bowling,
Be nice.
the other bowling,
The other bowling, yeah.
and
Is there other
bowling.
Is there other bowling, David?
Hey,
yeah.
Mike is a 10-pin bowler as well, a former, so you got to be
Well,
nice.
I grew up in Detroit,
Yeah,
so I
that's all I
knew
want.
nothing of Candlepin. However, in all fairness, when I moved here, I immediately joined a Candlepin bowling league. Even though I was a near pro average in 10-pin, I never approached that in Candlepin, I should point out.
I say it all the time. It's all about having fun.
It is
That's
all
that
about having
matters.
fun and friends. And,
Yep.
So how do you think the game has changed over the years?
More speed?
Well, sadly, there's fewer bowlers, and part of it is a lot of the proprietors did not pick up on what their customers wanted and didn't roll with the changes or couldn't afford to.
What would that be? Global? Lights?
Well, I mean, that's what a lot of people want, and,
That's right.
and I know
The
that
newer-
a lot of
the
the
newer
pros don't care for
generation.
that. I'm not a fan of glow bowling, but you give
Other
the customers what they want,
right.
or you go out of business. And as we know, real estate played a big part in a lot of the bowling
absolutely
centers that sold. The owners retired. The kids didn't want to pick up, but the new generation and some of the newer bowling centers are, I think, breathing new life into stuff.
Yeah.
Made the clear. Nice shot.
Now, Dean Sullivan for his 5th mark of the string. I got to ask because a lot of people ask me, and I talked to you about this earlier, Mike. Mm-hmm. When you guys went off the air, and I just wanted to, so everyone can hear it, did you guys know ahead of time that you were being canceled?
That's a really good question. For people watching this show, of course, it was recorded some time ago. Same thing with Stars and Strikes.
Right.
We taped our last show in April of 2005. And a couple months later, after the show had aired,
nice
the decision was made to pull the plug. So we did not know.
See, a lot of people didn't know one way or the other if you guys knew and just playing it off.
And we never got to say goodbye. Now, in the case of Channel 5, when the Don Gillis show went off the air, the day they taped the last show with Dave Richards and Ed Zernicke, they didn't know it was going off the air. However, within a couple weeks and before the last show aired, they found out. So Don Gillis pre-recorded a 1 or 2 minute preface to the last show explaining what was happening. We didn't have the opportunity to do that on Channel 50, sadly. And it's not fair to the fans,
Right.
but it's a business and it was a decision made beyond my pay grade.
It's all
I'd still be doing it if it was
all,
on the air.
Yeah,
all
well-
financial, right?
We wish you were still doing it, believe me.
It is largely financial.
Financial.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, and we talked on Facebook about this. I didn't know if you realized just how popular you and Dick still are to all of us bowlers out there, even bowling fans.
Thanks to Facebook.
Thanks to Facebook
Otherwise,
and YouTube.
It's been 10 years. Yeah, YouTube is what I meant to say. After all these years, slowly people begin to forget, but, I see them pop up all the time, and, it's kind of nice.
Yep.
It's nice running into people and saying how much they enjoyed the show, and I did 234 episodes of it from 97 to 05. Of course, Dan Murphy and Doug Brown were the original guys. They did a fantastic job.
Yep.
And I interviewed them for the book and asked them how it felt, when they found out that they were not being retained. And, they didn't see it coming.
No, Dan's been on quite a few different shows, too.
He has been, yeah?
Yeah.
He
look
is
at
a man
this.
with great stories. He told some of the best stories for the book.
Oh, I bet. Because he, like yourself, he's seen all the bowling right in front of him. He's been part of the bowling himself.
has.
He's been on many shows himself.
Yeah, he's just a smart guy. I did a Learn to Bowl video with him in 1989. It was a video demonstration, and there's a great story about how that played out.
Was that in the book?
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait for
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So after one, Dean Sullivan at 130, Will Haskell at 110. One more string. Will is down 20 pins, but that can all change in a matter of boxes.
Will really disappointed there. Got a nice spare.
Well, the marks told the story, 4 to 6. So there's the 20 pins right there.
He punched out the half oyster for the fill, and unfortunately landed up with the 7 box. Okay, here we go to box number 1, string number 2, lane number 3. Dean Sullivan, the right veteran Candlepin bowler. Drops 7, leads to 1, 3, 8.
So
Mike, where are you going on this one? Excuse me, Dennis.
Go ahead.
Call it, Mike.
I'm probably going to hit the head pin
Right
straight
side or
on.
left side? Straight on?
I think I'm
Okay,
going to go
Dennis?
straight on.
Oh,
I wouldn't do that.
I don't know. I agree with you,
Yeah,
Mike.
the
Just
object
go.
pin was not the 8.
Yeah.
So all the years bowling,
Yeah.
doing commentary, was there a certain bowler that you were just utterly starstruck when you first met him or her?
To be honest with you, I'm not really a starstruck kind of person. But it was a great pleasure having people like Tommy Ulster on the show and Craig Holbrook, because the first show that we did, they didn't have qualifying for it because I think they were just going to cancel the show. Dan and Doug were gone, and then during the summer I got a call from Channel 50, do you want to do Stars and Strikes? I said, yeah, sure. So what they did is I think they took, they might have taken how they did in the States or something.
The WCBC or maybe
yeah,
like that?
Yeah, something like that. Because typically Ulster would not have come out to try out for the show.
Right.
I don't think he did. He may have, but he was on the first show.
Oh, just missed.
Just missed that. Blew by the 7 pin with the Deadwood.
Shooting the 7 pin. But
Now,
okay.
and then Mike, again, we talked about this earlier as Dean throws 2 10s for a 20. Tom Morgan, the emotion through his last show when he showed up.
Yeah, for people that don't know, Tommy Ulster passed. I'm sorry, Tommy Morgan.
Yes.
That's who you're talking about,
Yeah,
right?
Tom Morgan.
Tom
Yeah.
Morgan passed away from cancer, probably around 2003, somewhere around there. And earlier in the year, he had done really well, but during the course of the year, before the Tournament of Champions, he did get brain cancer and did end up passing away in September of that year. But in April, when we taped the last show, he was on, and he was certainly not the old Tommy
Right.
Tommy Morgan that we know. And I felt just as bad for Gary Santora, who had to bowl against somebody who was a heavy crowd favorite. Tommy didn't bowl all that well, but you wouldn't expect it to.
Right.
But what courageousness, and there was not a dry eye in the house.
Really?
When that shot, I'm up there on the approach at the end of the show, and I can't keep it together.
Yeah, I cried myself watching it. I just watched it a couple months ago.
It's still available on
Yes.
YouTube to watch that.
And I've said this hundreds of times. I've said it to his face. Mike Morgan was my idol growing up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I never got to meet Tom. But when I saw Mike come down after he had lost the match in the Tournament of Champions, and his eyes were just, I think that's what did me in, seeing my childhood idol bawling his eyes out for his brother. And that just, you can't help but lose it when you watch
Nice
that
shot
episode.
by Will. Nice shot.
Dennis, where are we standing right now?
Box to box, Will is down 21 pins, but he's working on his spare.
Okay. Dean Sullivan up, lane number 3, box number 3, string number 2. Working on back-to-back 10 boxes. Oh, well, look at here, Dennis. A little extra time, or do you think he's just waiting for the ball to come all the way back?
You never know with Dean. he's in his own head.
Oh, look at this. Oh, okay. He
Well,
deserved
that's
it.
the break he didn't get last game.
Right,
He
exactly.
left,
That's
right.
For 6, 7, 10.
He deserved it. He hit the object. Now he's throwing at the 7-pin for a spare. The 7-pin all by itself, known in Candlepin bowling as a corner of the building shot. And he nailed it.
Like a sniper up there.
Little
Corner of the building shot.
corner of the building shot. That's what it's called. The 7-pin alone or the 10.
Mike, would you concur with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Corner of the building or corner of the building shot?
I don't think there's a difference. I'm going to plead the fifth on this.
Right down the middle of the
And
plate.
he leaves
and
us-
he leaves a 7
But
again.
but I have to compliment you on this bowling center. I've not been here before. It's just kind of tucked away in Leominster, or in Fitchburg, I'm sorry. And it's, you can tell there's a lot of love in this place.
That's
You
this,
love your customers in the game. And
I mean, I look at it this way. Everybody that does the King of the Palace is just part of the family, you know. And now
Right.
you're part of the family.
am I in
You
the
know, you
well?
get that one relative over here.
That's crazy Uncle Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
Play nice, boys. By the way, I love this is Will Haskell, and you gotta love a guy who says his hobbies are. Let me see. I've got bowling, darts, poker, anything you can do while drinking beer.
Yep.
There you go.
How can you not love a guy?
I mean, put it to you this way: there's some of them that fill them out that want to see strippers. Not lying.
Yeah.
really?
You know? Oh yeah.
Cheerleaders.
Is that available here at New Palace?
I don't think you want the local yokels here.
Oh,
See?
ouch.
There it is, right there.
Isn't that stripers for fishing?
No, that's strippers.
Oh, okay.
You got to know who wrote it.
Yeah, well, I do.
Freshie.
Yeah. I got a great story about him in the book, by the way, told by Jess Bain, who is one of the top lady bowlers in Canada.
Yes.
She has a great story about Fresh that I won't get into here, but you'll buy the book Lunch with Tommy and Stacia when it comes out this summer and read the story.
I can't
will.
wait.
I will.
Who's
He was
the-
horrified when I told him I put it in the book.
Who's the publisher, Mike?
Publisher is Hobblebush Books out of Brookline, New Hampshire.
Oh, Brookline, New Hampshire.
Yep.
That's right, yeah. Nice. Oh. Now, what's going on here? Why did the 4-pin stay up? I know, Dennis.
Oh, I hope there's a spread eagle so you can see him lose it firsthand. I really do.
I almost lost
Will,
it.
Will wants to give a shout out real quick to his mom, Ethel, his dad, Dave, and his sister, Kathy. And he forgot to mention them the last time. And he wants to give a shout out to Local Flavor, the team that he's on, and his girlfriend, Diane.
So after 4, Dean Sullivan is 49 working on a spare. Will Haskell is 43. Will is down 26 pins going into the last 6 boxes.
Mike, in the book, have you mentioned anything about the terms of bowlings that I really get into? 3 marks in a row is a turkey. 4
Not too much.
But
of
you
that.
know they exist.
But I might have to do a glossary because
Oh,
there'll be
good.
some non-bowlers reading the book.
Yeah.
And the stories, I use terms like that.
Yeah.
And it's almost not fair to them if they don't know. So
Yeah.
the publisher suggested I do a little bit of a glossary
Yeah.
of expressions, half Worcester,
Like right in
turkey,
one side here. Here's the 4
stuff
horsemen.
like that.
4 horsemen, right.
It's a good idea. Real good idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dean, a
They're
little
paying
bit
the bill, so I
disappointed.
have
there.
There you go, see?
Shooting the 4 horsemen right for 10.
Oh.
Gets an eye. Just missed the head pin. Okay, what do we got, Dennis?
A bowling match.
64 after.
And if you'd like King of the Palace in your neck of the woods, just contact your local public access provider. Tell them you want King of the Palace. You sign a piece of paper. It doesn't cost you anything. They contact us. We stream it to them, and they air it for you. And
He nails it.
I want to get us up to over 800 subscribers by the end of the season. I think we can do it.
Yeah.
We can do it.
I think so. And, you know, for the first time, like, I don't watch my own show. I've never watched
I
it.
watch it enough for the both of us.
But I turned around and I actually did read some of the comments.
Oh, nice
shot.
On
That was a
some of the
great shot.
YouTubes. And because I had thrown out there, I want to hear, you know, where you're from and this and that. And I think there was some from Australia.
I haven't looked at them yet. I figured I'll save that for the next couple episodes.
Well,
But there was like, yeah, I did that.
Last month it was United Kingdom. We learned about Skittles.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ever heard of Skittles? Not the candy, but
Oh,
the
sure.
bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yes,
Sure
I
have.
remember you mentioned it on the show once. Yeah, there was someone that was supposed to send us a video or something of it, but they haven't done it yet.
No, they will. We
There
got
you go,
confidence.
boys. Ready?
All right.
Oh, he just missed.
Oh, just missed the head pin. Needed the head pin for the spare.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to take one on the lanes too, all of us.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Okay.
So, I know. back in the day when Candlepin was huge and there was like lots of money and stuff like that, and you know there was the sponsorships and how it was crazy. And I know this day and age things are a heck of a lot different. And everything's more, even for us, is more localized. What's your opinion on the belt?
Oh, I love it. That's what I love about you guys, is you just say, we're just going to do it our way.
Our way.
You know, it adds a little color, a little flavor.
Yep.
The
And
David
I think it's
Metallo
fun.
way.
I think it's great.
Only David Metallo would invent something like this.
Well, you know what it is
Oh, you don't have to be
a lot,
modest.
well, I mean, a lot of us are huge wrestling fans. Growing up wrestling, and you know, everybody used to bowl for a trophy or whatever it may be. And I wanted something totally different. You know, it's something that nobody else has ever done. It's not in 10-pin bowling. You know, and it was just something that was corny that actually caught on. That you know. We have that. We have the one that you've seen. We have the original King of the Palace, and we have the tag team titles. You know,
So what you need to add now, because I like the theme here, is a steel cage grudge match, Candlepin bowling.
Oh,
We've already had a grudge match. We've had two, actually, and I've been a part of both of them.
I'm pretty sure our OEPD could actually probably put a imaginary cage around it in his idiot.
There you go.
In his video editing. That'd be kind of cool.
Actually, ours hasn't aired yet. It still hasn't aired, the one that me and you had.
Oh, you know what it is? It's Travis has done, and I haven't seen it yet, but he has probably six seasons worth of the Follies.
Yeah.
And all the backstage.
He's going to add that into that?
Yeah, probably.
Hey, whatever. Works for me.
You know, it's kind of weird. We haven't seen. I mean, we're almost done with the second match. I mean, we haven't even seen any of the crazy shots yet.
Right.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, there's no MKs. There's nothing. Hasn't been anything.
Yeah, no stripper. Well, we've had a Cleary.
Yep.
We've had a Mongo.
Man,
Had the
yeah.
Four Horsemen.
Half Worcester.
Does Bob Cleary get a bit of a little royalty?
He
every
gets a
time
pat
you
on the
take-
back every time we use his name.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
He
Now,
accepts
this is
it.
not good.
He didn't
wood.
want money. He's too nice of a guy to want money.
You know what's kind of funny too is I never thought of it when we started doing the show about all our own little ways we talk. Because
Terminology.
yeah, thank you. The terminology with regards to everything.
Nice
But
$10.
now you can hear it like catching on.
Oh, we hear it. I hear it everywhere.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Like just before we aired the show, I was outside and one of the guys says, "Where do you get the terminology through the hoop with no grease?" And I started laughing, and I actually had to tell him what it meant. You know, I was like, "Well, you'll never hear me air that.
No,
say that
no.
on the air because you can't."
Right.
Speaking of terminology, Will has left
Can't
the...
you say anything on cable TV?
We used to say a lot, but you know, it is a family show and it is on local access. So if it was just on YouTube, then I think anything would go.
Oh, look at that.
Oh,
I didn't think that was going to go down.
Another 2 inches over to the right, you probably would have had it.
well, Will Haskell was shooting
Time
the
is running out.
1.367, which is better known as the washout, and just missed.
Nice shot.
Nice shot for the 10. The washout wins again. What
Well, box to box, he's down 32 pins.
up to the 10.
So he needs a mark right now.
Just before, you know, because we're almost done this match, but I wanted to ask. You had discussed the book. What made you decide to write the book?
Well, first of all, I'm just a huge bowling fan, all the way from growing up in Detroit to moving here. I love the culture. I love the characters. You know, the people that I'm writing about were everyday working stiffs.
Yep.
You know, they were blue-collar workers, they were accountants, they were restaurant people, and I just felt that nobody told their story. And they've all got great stories. And so I decided that it would be their story that I would tell, because what if nobody does it 50 years from now? There'll be no record of some of these other than what's on YouTube. But
Right.
some people do like to read,
Right.
so I thought I would document it.
Yep,
And
yep.
that's one of the reasons I did it. And nobody's done it. So it's kind of like a wide open field. I could just paint the picture any way that I wanted to. And it's been a great process. The research, driving all over the place, up to the Worlds, down to Florida to see Tommy Olsta, and every place in between.
Nice.
So it's been a real pleasure.
Oh, there's the hammer.
Oh, the 5-pin stays up.
He could have put the match away right now. So
The kingpin stay.
after 8, Dean's at 101, Will's at 88. Will is down 33 pins. So depending on what Dean does right here, he could probably put away the match pretty quickly.
Four strikes.
And the legend lives to see another match.
Yeah.
1, 2, 4 marks.
Stan
He's
Parker
becoming a
waiting in the
staple of
wing.
the King of the Palace.
I told you we're going to start calling it King Dean of the Palace.
Okay, this should wrap it up then. It's 8, 9, or 10.
Well, mathematically, we're still in it.
He just gets 8.
Want to give a shout out to our sponsors one final time. Thank you, North End Mazda Subaru. Visit buynorthend.com or visit them in person and see Marty Babineau's excellent sales staff for the newer pre-owned Mazda Subaru. Also, go to YouTube, type in Watch Me Stuck at Bowling and see my friend George do parodies on Candlepin, Duckpin, 10-pin, elevator racing, anything that he can do, he'll do, and it's actually quite funny. Want to thank Mike for coming down.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It was great fun.
We loved having
And
you.
I'll continue to watch even if I'm not on.
You're more than welcome anytime you want. Anytime.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll see if the check clears, then I'll make the decision.
Just don't catch the one from Steve.
Yeah. Actually, you'll probably owe Steve.
Okay, tell me about the pizza.
So, okay, here's a quick story. Steve had bet me one time about doing some kind of a bet, and he bet me pizza.
189.
And so I agreed to it, and he said, and I hit his mark, and he went to order me a pizza, but he was $1 short, and I had to pay for the $1 to get the pizza.
Did you get your pizza?
I did.
Did you get your pizza?
I did.
All right, good.
That happened in season 2 and it hasn't lived it down yet.
Nope.
So that does it for Will. So Dean Sullivan, we'll move on to facing number 3 seed, Stan Parker.
I want to thank everybody in Facebook land, on YouTube, and local access. Thank you for watching and believing in what we do, because we cannot do what we do without you. Also want to thank the OEPD and his excellent staff at FATV for making us look good, making the bowlers look even better. We've had a blast. I want to thank Dennis, Steve.
Oh, look at this.
Again, our special guest, Mike. Amber behind the scenes. Casey for keeping score. And everybody that came out today for the tournament, man. It's been a spectacular turnout.
Great
And
turnout,
like I
yeah.
said, without you guys, there would be no King of the Palace.
Absolutely not.
Well, congratulations on a great turnout today for the qualifying, leading up to a really strong ladder.
Yeah.
So I hope that continues for the other variations of this show.
And everybody that's in the ladder today has been on the show at least once before.
Okay.
Okay, what do we got, Dennis?
And there's your winner.
After 2, Dean Sullivan with a 131 for a 2-string total of 261. Will Haskell with a 106 for a 2-string total of 216. Will had 6 spares and no strikes, and Dean had 11 spares and no strikes. No strikes. Wow.
No strikes out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 20
But, I mean, 50 pins, it's right, all in the marks.
40 boxes, no strikes. Look at this, Mike. No strikes. Unbelievable.
Plenty of marks, though.
Plenty of marks. Name of the game.
Everybody pinned well, too.
Thank you very much, and let's get to the 11th box with the Nuz.
Welcome to the 11th box. I'm here with today's winner, no surprise, Mr. King Dean of the Palace himself, Dean Sullivan. Congratulations, Dean. Very consistent. 130, 131. How'd you feel about your bowling?
Yeah, throwing the ball, I got a lot of breaks. The first match, I had 2 spares that shouldn't have been spares, but they went. That's all that matters.
Yeah, but then you had, and I guess we call this reverse karma. You really hammered it on the left
the
side,
5-pin just didn't want
and you
to
left.
fall.
I think you left the 6, 7, 10.
Yep.
And then a few boxes later, you did the same thing, but the 6 and 10 went down. So it's a funny game.
Oh, you throw the ball and let the pins fall. That's all there is to it. You can't. It is what it is. Once the ball's out of your hand, the pins are either going to stand up and fight, look at you, or they're just going to fall down.
But what's the difference between the 6, 7, 10 one time, and then the next time? Is it another revolution on the ball? Is it what? How do you describe it? Because it was an identical hit.
Probably less on the head pin,
Yeah.
more on the head pin. It's a game of inches, and it's won by millimeters. It's hard to say.
See, I knew he had some insight into this
Oh,
game.
yeah?
I just got to draw it out of him.
See,
I'd rather talk to him than you, Dennis.
so would I, actually. This is the true game of inches, not football. I say it all the time.
This
Because
is millimeters, a fraction.
Yeah.
And it could mean the difference between a triple strike or a split.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes you hit full and it explodes the pin. Sometimes you hit full and goes straight through like Will did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all depends on how the ball's going in.
Why do you do so well at this house?
I have no clue.
No clue.
I have no
Because he
clue.
bowls at leader, so.
Oh, all right. So this is easy
Well, yeah.
compared to leader, right?
But I still bowl consistent at leader too. So, but I mean, I practice there every week.
I've seen Dean bowl a lot, not just here, in other places, and he's very consistent. He has the same outlook, just throw the ball at the pins fall. So he's very consistent everywhere. It's just maybe I should stop being like that.
What I like about Dean is you don't overthink the game, right?
No, that's the whole thing. You can't think about the game. It's just
Yeah.
throw the ball, let the pins fall. Each box is a new game. It's an offensive game all the way through. There's no defense in this.
That's true.
You got to mark, and that's it.
You've never tripped an opponent?
No, thought about it.
We all have, believe me. Mike,
you want to walk down the stairs?
Oh, ouch.
how was your experience here, Mike?
I had a great time. I mean, bowling is supposed to be fun, right?
Right.
You just can't take it too seriously.
Right.
Some people that have these sourpuss looks on their face, I mean, sometimes you get really frustrated, but there'll be another string next.
Right, exactly.
Even after that box, you reset the button, and it's all new game.
Yeah, well,
That's
just keep having fun here.
Oh, yeah,
I'll keep watching.
I enjoy having fun.
All
That's
right.
all I do.
Well, good luck to
And
you, Dean.
6 words is great because it messes him up.
We try to get a little something out of him, but Dean, it's like impossible. But thanks for coming up,
Yeah,
Mike.
thank you for having
come
me.
back anytime you want. Believe me, we'll welcome you with open arms.
Okay, terrific.
And for you, your match isn't getting any easier because the number 3 seed's waiting for you, Stan Parker with a 633. You just want to run that ladder.
I'm going to run the ladder if I can.
Well, the trash talking has begun.
Well, this is the only belt he hasn't held, so he's going to fire himself up for it, I'm sure. So,
Number 2 and number 3, number 1 and number 2 seeds will be the toughest matches to bowl.
well, generally because they have the highest scores.
Well, not just that, they're the best bowlers right now in the Pro Series and all that.
Right.
So.
Well, good luck to you. Mike, thank you for coming out.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Anytime, absolutely. See everyone next week.